Some people say you can't change your own level of creativity. I disagree. I think there are indeed things you can do to increase your own creativity. Let's talk about it. The back burner. My father was once a chef at a large resort in Maine. One dish that made him a bit of notoriety was his chicken imperial. This was the most expensive dish on the menu. Professional restaurant reviewers raved about it. Here is his closely guarded secret. He bought old stewing hens at the market, put them in a big pot with some onions, a bit of wine, salt and pepper, and shoved the pot on the back of the burner of a big stove and cooked it slowly for 2 or 3 days. Yes, days. After that, the 2 chunks of breast meat fell off the bones of each chicken as complete pieces and were carefully wrapped and frozen. The rest of the chicken meat was picked off for chicken salad, which also was considered the best people had ever tasted. The remaining broth stayed on the back burner for another few days. It was rendered down into an incredibly savory sauce. This was also carefully packaged and frozen. When a customer ordered chicken imperial, frozen breasts and portions of frozen sauce were microwaved, and voila, chicken imperial. What was his secret? Time. Not time, but time. Can creativity be cultivated? I've already told you my feelings on this matter. Albert Einstein is not remembered for his graphic design, but he was responsible for an abundance of creative new ideas in the field of physics. Not all creativity is visual, or musical, or literary. Every area of human endeavor has the potential for creativity. Hear what Einstein said about solving creative problems. As one grows older, one sees the impossibility of imposing your will on the chaos with brute force. But if you are patient, there may come that moment when, while eating an apple, the solution presents itself politely and says, "Here I am." To be sure, it is wonderful to have an inspired idea occur to you. It feels like magic, and if the idea really was inspired, it can work like magic too. How do you make those moments happen? I don't know, but I do know how to encourage them to happen more often. Here is my recommendation when you have a creative problem or a creative challenge. One way is to get engaged, really deeply invested in your creative problem as early as you can. Puzzle over the issue, be hard on yourself, and don't settle for a mediocre solution. Then put the problem aside. Let your subconscious work on it for a while. Come back to it again and slave on it again. Then put it aside again or sleep on it. This is how the magic happens. I can't tell you how often a beautiful solution has presented itself to me in a dream or when working on something completely different. The answer just percolates to the surface unbidden, as Einstein suggested. Most often, such inspirations really do work well. But if you're a procrastinator, someone who gets to the job at the last possible moment, you can forget about percolation time. It takes time for the back burner to do its magic. To summon that kind of help, you have to get the conscious truly engaged. Once that has been done, your subconscious will work on your issue while you turn your conscious attention to something else. The key is that you have to give your subconscious time. If you don't, it doesn't have a chance to come up with those breakthroughs. You might think that Einstein was saying that you can't influence the process of getting inspiration, but if you know anything about how he worked, you will see that he was advocating just the method I've explained. Here's another key principle. Don't simply wait for inspiration to strike. Leonardo da Vinci said, "It has long since come to my attention that people of accomplishment rarely sat back and let things happen to them. They went out and happened to things." Why do I bring this up? Because those who fail to be proactive are artistic dilettantes, dabblers, pretenders. Chuck Close is a celebrated photographic realistic painter. He was born with prosopagnosia, a brain defect that leaves him unable to recognize faces. Paradoxically, he made a successful career painting giant, ultra-realistic portraits. In 1988, he suffered a spinal artery collapse that left him almost totally paralyzed. Most people would have given up painting at that point, but he did not. Since then, he has continued to create giant portraits. Because his finer motor skills have been ruined by the paralysis, he breaks his portraits into large, multicolored boxes, each presenting an overall color. Chuck Close's triumph over such obstacles lends weight to his famous quote, "Inspiration is for amateurs. The rest of us just show up and get to work." Some people might imagine that creativity is a mystical phenomenon that can't be promoted or consciously influenced. I beg to differ, and apparently so do Einstein, Da Vinci, and Chuck Close. How do you increase the Eureka moments? By your actions. You have the power. You can summon the muse. For more information, go to logodesigntheory.com. If you found this helpful, be sure to like this video, subscribe, and share this with anyone who needs to know more about logo design.